Hello guys, my name is Khan, and actually in today's video I will show you guys that how you can compute new variables within the existing data, and then I will move towards a bit about the correlation between the variable, and I will also touch a bit scatter plots. So for this video I already have created this hypothetical data set for you guys, which I will use to analyze it. So I just double click it to open it. So this is my data, which is the same data I have also used in my previous videos. So we have a price variable. Actually, this data is about the cars. So we have about the car prices, car weights, length, and the variable about the car is domestically made or foreign. So first, suppose if you want to create a new variable, suppose if you want to know the log price, you want to create for some computation and you want to create within this dataset a log price variable. In order to create a new variable, if you look at this transform option in your in the main tab, so if I click it, then there is the first option which comes is the compute variable. If I click it, now there will be few options, that target variable, numeric expression. So the target variable is the new variable you want to create. Suppose if I want to name it as log price, because I want to assign the log prices in that variable. So then I will come here. This is the window where I want to compute and assign that computation to this target variable, which will be the new variable in my data set. So suppose so in order to run any computation, there are some built-in functions that SPSS provide. So instead of writing the whole formula or doing computation by yourself, you can easily look over these options that SPSS provide. So suppose because I want to assign some arithmetic operation over my price variables, so maybe I have to go here. If I selected the arithmetic, I can see that there are so many functions. ABS for absolute, then the exponential, natural log of 10, natural log of 10, natural log of exponential. So suppose if I want this natural ln, so I will just double click it, and then SPSS will written down the function here, and then there is a question marks appearing. So actually this question marks is for that SPSS is assuming that there will be one variable should be here. So I will say car price, then I will select this arrow button and I put it there, and then I will select OK. So if I select OK, so then there is in my output window, SPSS have done some operation. But if I go back to my data window, so as you can see that SPSS have automatically now have created a log price variable for me, and that log price variable is actually derived from this price variable, and then actually SPSS is taking log of this price and then pasting the result here. But suppose if you also want to create another variable, suppose you want to create a square root of weight in the next variable, that is also very easy. You will go back to your compute variable transform tab, then select the compute variable, and now I want to make a new variable. So suppose if I want to know the square root of weight, and suppose now I want to run some different operation over it. So again, I have already selected arithmetic, and I can go. So within the arithmetic, there are so many other functions like random, mod, gamma function, where I think the function that I am interested is square root. So if I double click it, again there is a question mark because SPSS is assuming that there must be some variable within this function. So I will select weight and I will put it here. So now this variable, the target variable, which will be the new variable in my data set, will be capturing actually the square root of weight. And if I select OK now, so again SPSS have done some computation in my output viewer. And if I go back to my variable data view, now I can see that SPSS have created new variable with new values in it. But important thing to note here is that there is no missing value here, because the weight variable for this observation is also missing. So if there is a missing data, nothing will be happening. It will also be considered as missing. But now I will show you guys the suppose if you want to create a variable with if condition on it. So suppose if I want to create a dummy variable and I want to know, so the dummy variable actually contains 0 or 1 values. So suppose if I want to create to tag my observation such that the observation will be 1 if the price is greater than 5,000, and if the car is less than 5,000, it will be tagged as 0. So in order to do that, I can again go back to my transform tab option in the main tab, and then I will select the compute variable option again. So now again I want to create a new variable. So my new variable I can name it as dummy price, because this dummy price variable will be deriving from the price variable. So I will say that dummy price is equal to 0. But here if you see in the bottom of this dialog box, there is a if option appearing. So say if, and I want to execute that if condition. So it have to be because then I have to opt this option which will say include if cases satisfies condition. So I will select that, and I will say that make it 0 if price, this is the where I want to specify my condition. So if price is less than equal to 5,000, so I am saying make this new variable equal to 0 if price is less than equal to 5,000. And then if I select continue, so but again you guys have to note down that this dummy price variable will be 1 if price is greater than 5,000. But suppose if I press OK, so if I press OK, SPSS is doing some computation. But if I go to my data view, I can see that SPSS have created 0 for those observations where the price is less than 5,000. But the point here to note is that the observations are missing. There is no data or the missing data where the price is greater than 5,000. So in order to have one value here for those observations where price is greater than 5,000, we need to run another condition on the same variable. In order to do that, you will go again to transform option. Then I will again go to my compute variable. And after going to the compute variable, I will keep it as it is because I want to rerun my condition on the same variable. So I will not change this variable. Again, I am mentioning that when I am going to implement my second condition, I will not change this variable. The variable will remain like the same, but here I will change it to 1. And now I will specify a new if condition, and then I will just simply say, and it will say greater than 5,000. So if the price will be greater than 5,000, my dummy price will be 1 now. So I will say continue, and then I will say OK. You have to observe that SPSS now have given me one dialog box that SPSS is saying that, do you want to change the existing variable? And I will say okay, yes, I want to change that existing variable. And SPSS have done again some computation behind in my output window, but actually more key things to see is in the data view. So in the data view, you can see now that we have a dummy variable with 0 values when price is less than 5,000. But when the price is greater than 5,000, now I have 1, not missing data, which was before. So in the same way, you can implement more than 2 if conditions, maybe 3 or 4 if condition in SPSS by just repeating the same thing again and again. So in this example I have given these three. So I have created 3 variables for you guys, and I have shown you guys that how you can compute variables based on arithmetic function. Then I have shown you guys that how you can create variables by using the if condition. So the next thing I will show you guys that I will give you a bit short overview about Scatterplot, just to show a bit to make your understanding a bit correlations. But probably in my later videos I will go in more details about the graphs. But for this video I will just show you guys a Scatterplot. Suppose I want to see what's the trend between price and weight variables. So in order to see that, suppose if I go to graph and then I will select this chart builder option. So within the charts, the important thing to note here is that if you go to this gallery tab, there are so many chart types that you can draw bar line. But for this video, I am interested in Scatterplot, and if I am more into the simple Scatterplot. So suppose if I just drag this simple Scatterplot into my chart preview, so I paste it here. Now SPSS is saying, okay, which variable you want to use an x-axis and which variable you want to use as a y-axis. Suppose I want to use car price as a y-axis, so I'll just drag the variable into y-axis, and I will just drag my weight variable into my x-axis. So that's just I have done. So if I press OK, now as you can see, SPSS have computed a scatter plot for me, and I have weight variable on x-axis, car price on the y-axis. But the important thing to note here is that on average, that most of the time, as the weight is increasing, as the weight of the car is increasing, the car prices are also increasing. So it means that it gives us that there is some sort of positive relation. So in statistics, such kind of relationships can be quantified through a correlation. So the correlations are the correlation coefficient is actually between -1 to +1. -1 means that the correlation between the variable is strictly negative. That if weight is increasing, I'm just giving an example that that if weight is increasing, then prices will be strictly decreasing. Whereas if the correlation is 0, it means that there is no, regardless weight increase or decrease, there is no strong relationship between weight and price. But if the correlation is 1, it means that if weight increase, then car price will definitely increase. So, and now I will show you guys that how you can compute correlation in SPSS. So that's very simple. So in order to do that, actually correlation coefficient is always tell us the correlation between two variables. So first in order to compute any correlation, I will first select this analyze, and then within the analyze, I have to go into my bivariate. So if I go descriptive statistics, and as you can see that there is a correlate option within this analyze, and then I have to select bivariate because I want to know the correlation between two variables. And within, so these are the existing variables that I have in my dataset, but I want to run correlation between car price. So I will select that. As you can see that I have selected just one variable, so SPSS is not letting me to execute. So in order to run correlation, there must be at least two variables. So I will select my second variable, which is the weight, and now it allows me to execute the correlation. Now the OK option is activated in SPSS. But before going further, in the correlation coefficient, it's given me if you want to compute Pearson correlation, Tau correlation, Spearman correlation. These are the three different ways of computing correlation, but the most famous one is the Pearson correlation. So, and I'm interested in Pearson correlation, but you can also opt other correlations computations ways too. And there is another option that do you want the significance, test of significance. Test of significance means that that correlation is different than 0 or not. So SPSS will compute a significance test for you, and if it will be significant, I am saying flag the significant correlation. So suppose if the correlation is significant, I will be having a static sign which will be identifying that the correlation is significant statistically. So I will say OK. And now you can see that SPSS have created a table for me. And here I have the first variable and the second variable. And again, I am having car price and the weight. So the car price to car price correlation is obviously 1 because both variables exactly the same. But here you can see the car price and the weight variable correlation is very high, very close to 1, and it's also have double statics in it. So it's here there is a brief note about what this double static means. It means that the correlation is significant at the 0.01 level, means at 1% level, and it's a two-tailed significance level. So if you guys want to know more about the significance, there is a lot of description on internet, so you can also look into that. But as I am making this video more how you can compute correlations within the SPSS. So as you can see that I have run correlation between two variables, but you can also run correlation between 3 or 4 or maybe more variables. But each time SPSS will compute correlation in between two variable at once, and then it will keep on repeating computing correlation with each variable one by one. So I will show you how you can do that too. Again, I will go to my Analyze tab, and then I will come to here again correlate, and then I will come to bivariate. As I have already selected these two variables, suppose if I also want to run a correlation based on length of car, so I will add it. Again, I don't want to change any of these options. I will say OK. Now an interesting thing to note here is that I have 3 columns and 3 rows, and car price, then car price to weight. So then at this point is showing me the car price to weight correlation, then car price to length of car correlation. As you can see that car price to weight correlation is significant, but car price to length of car correlation is not significant, because as you can see the significance level is 0.157, which is above the 0.01. And again, the weight of the car is correlated with the length of the car. As you can see, it's the correlation between weight and the length of the car is very high, about close to 1. And the significance is also significant, because as you can say that it's 0.05 less than 0.1. So in the same way, you can add even 3 or 4 or 5 variables, but this table will start getting bigger and bigger. So, and in the end, I will also tell you guys that it's not that because if I should go to my data view, the variables that I have used in my for my correlation are price, weight, and length. All these 3 variables are a kind of continuous variable, or you can call them scale variable. But you can also use dummy variables, or variables which have 2 categories for correlation. Suppose if I have a foreign variable which have only 2 categories, that I also can use to run correlation. So suppose if I go back to my analyze tab and then go to correlate, bivariate, and suppose if I also select car make, you can select that. Okay, so now you can see that I have 4 variables here, and I have correlation of car make too with the other variables. But now you have to be a bit careful, because car make is 1 or 2, and so you have to see that how increase in car make can increase in car make will be that how if it become foreign or domestic can impact the car prices. So as you can see, if I go back to my data view, if I show domestic is 1 and foreign is 2, so it means that it's have a positive correlation. It means that when the foreign car prices are higher and the domestic car prices are lower, so because car make is just 1 or 2, they have 2 categories, 1 or 2, and the 2 is for foreign. So it means that as the car make increase from 1 from 2, the car prices are increasing. So this is a bit short overview about correlation, and I also discussed how you can compute new variables within the existing data set. And then I also have shown you guys that how you can use if condition while creating new variable. So this is all about today's video. Thank you for watching the video.